So her name is Nechama, and so which means comfort. So we pray that she'll grow up to be a comfort to a lot of people. In any case, we left off last time with we went through Moses and so on, and some of the places that would be associated with him here, and went through with Joshua. So just want to end there, and then we'll continue on up to King David, and maybe the next session with King David we start getting into Jerusalem. So that'll be, I think, our next session. I'll discuss with Rabbi Susan to work that out. Anyway, Joshua, at his time of his death, he's 110 years old. He's summons. Remember, what we decided was the heading is the first Mishnah in Ethics of the Sages, Pirkei Avot, which says that Moshe kibel Torah Sinai. Moses received the Torah at Sinai, and then he passed it down to Joshua, whom we're dealing with, and Joshua will go to the Zakanim, which will be the heart of our discussion today. Who these Zakanim are, elders are. They're really not old, but they're known as elders. And then they hand it over to the prophets, and the prophets to the Anshe Knesset HaGdolah, which then takes us right through the destruction of the first temple and rebuilding of the second temple through the second temple period. And I'm hoping if we continue long enough, we get to modern Israel too, because that's a wonderful story in and of itself. How it was shaped and formed, and explains all the difficulties and challenges that are confronted in Israel today, and maybe in the whole Jewish world as well. In any case, Joshua is 110 years old, and he's finished his journey, and he summons the Israelite leaders, including these Zakanim, and he summons them to a place called Shechem. And there he reviews the history of what happened to them from Moses and slavery and Abraham and the whole history of the Jewish people. And it's a significant place. Shechem it's really, today we'll be going into territory that most tourists won't go because it's not necessary. It's not that safe. We're in the Palestinian area, and in some of these places, you need to go with, you get permission from the Israel Defense Force to be able to go there, and sometimes they assign escorts with machine guns and so on to go with you. But you can relax because nothing's going to happen on this trip. In any case, Joshua comes to Shechem, which today is Nablus. Now it's an Arab village, and there are two mountains. I think I have some pictures I'll try to show you. And there is the place where Abraham received for the first time the original promise of God to give the land to his offspring. It's also the place where Jacob, when he came back at Shechem, purchased a plot of land. It's also the place where his daughter Dinah was raped. It's also the place where the tribes of Levi and Shimon retaliated for that rape, taking revenge, and trashed the city. And it's also the place where Joseph was buried. His bones were carried from Egypt in the wilderness for 40 years, and he was buried in Shechem, the place where his father Jacob, Yaakov, had purchased a piece of land from the people there. The Midrash, interestingly enough, tells us about that incident. It says when the Jews were leaving Mitzrayim, Egypt, with slavery, the Egyptians were so happy to have them go after all the difficulties and the plagues that occurred there. that they offer them to give them jewelry and earrings and all kinds of stuff, which probably was the jewelry that they used to make the golden calf from. And only Moses was the one who was thinking about the promise the brothers made to Joseph that when they would ever leave, they would bring his bones back home with them and bury him in his land of Israel. It's interesting that recently, forgot his name, maybe if some of you know, but just unmute yourself and give me his name, I forgot it. But a few months ago, a soldier who was killed somewhere in Syria during the war, 37 years ago, his bones were finally found after Israel was working silently and openly, diplomatically, to try to find where he was killed and where his bones might be. And it was found with the help of the Russians. And after 37 years, his bones were brought to Israel, and he was not forgotten all that time. That this was a necessity that Israel had to somehow accomplish, and finally he was brought home.
You mean Eli Cohen, Rabbi?
No, that's Eli Cohen is someone else. No, Eli Cohen was a spy in Syria. That's different. We'll talk about Eli Cohen when we get to modern Israel. I forgot his name, Elazar something or other, but it was celebrated, and I found it so meaningful.
Rabbi?
Yes.
Zachariah Bauman.
That's it. That's it. Thanks, Lorraine. Yeah. So his bones, after 37 years, brought Israel. And this is really an ongoing situation in Israel. How much do you trade for the return of a dead body? Do you trade? How much do you give? How many terrorists do you free to get the bones back? Terrorists that return and become terrorists once again. It's a constant issue for Israel. And in fact, even today, there's all kinds of discussion. Hamas has the body of a young man that was killed in the last war. And there's all kinds of always negotiations going on. They want 1,000 prisoners but free. That's really too much. Israel has found that it doesn't really work. But anyway, it's an issue, but it's an issue because the bones of our children, living or dead, are so precious to us. And it even goes, I think, even beyond that, because this concept of respect for the dead is called in halachic literature, Jewish, kavod hamet. Respect must be shown to someone we've lost, and it's an essential value in Judaism. That's why we have Yurtzeit and Yiska, and grave visitations and memorial prayers. And we have to always ask ourselves, what value do we put on these concepts and ideas when we live in such a busy world? What are we willing to trade off one for the other? And in Judaism, it's a strict trade-off. We do all that we can to hold on to the bones and to bring them home, with us. Let me see if I can show you a picture. I'm sorry, I'm learning how to do this. Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry, lost you. Okay, share screen, okay. Okay, do you see the screen? Hello?
No, not yet.
Oh. No, still don't?
No.
I'll have to forget it. I'll waste my time.
Well, who's hosting the meeting, Rabbi? Maybe Rabbi Susan you can email him the image you want to show.
Okay, all right. Let me get back to where we,
If you could hold it up in front of the camera, we'd see it.
no, I have on the computers, I saw, you know.
Oh,
There you go.
Here we
Yeah.
go. Great.
Okay, that's the tomb of Joshua. It's in a small Arab village. We can't get to it. Once a year for the Joshua's yurt site, the IDF, Israel Defense Force, is there in large numbers to provide for security. Those people could come visit. And there's a lot of Arabic graffiti all around, as you can see. We have his tomb. Let's see. Oh, no, that's Shiloh. That's not where I want to go. Not going there yet. All right. How do I get back to the regular screen to talk to you? Anyone know?
Yeah, you go back to the share. There's a little banner that says in red, stop sharing.
There's a banner in red, stop sharing.
Either at the top or
Oh,
the
here it
bottom.
is. Yeah. Okay. All right. I think I'm going to keep practicing on this. Sorry.
You're doing great.
Oh, thank you so much. Anyway, I was going to show you the tomb of Joseph, which is in the city of Shechem, which is also Nablus, an Arab city. There what's going on here? Stop sharing. Hold it.
You're good. You're fine. We see you.
Oh, really? I don't know. I don't see you.
We see you.
We see you.
And we hear you.
We see you.
You're good, Rabbi.
All right. I'm good. Okay. I don't know. I'm just seeing pictures now.
Tamshich.
You look great. Don't
Yeah.
worry
Oh,
about it.
because it's not on speak. You have it on gallery view. That. Don't worry about that.
All right. Just go on. Okay.
Yep.
Sorry. All right. Anyway. Okay. At that same place, near in Shechem, Nablus, there are two mountains. One is called Har Eval, and one is called Har Grizim. And the city of Shechem, Nablus, is in a valley between them. You look at the mountain of Eval, and nothing growing on it. It's barren. Mountain of Mount Grizim is green with trees and olive trees and so on. And that happens to be the place of the Mount Grizim in the Bible, is the place when the Jews lined up and they faced those mountains. And one was called the Valley of Blessings, and one was called the Valley of Curses, a time of Moses. And it fits very nicely because those mountains really look, one is cursed. It's empty, nothing grows there, and the opposite mountain, they're in the close vicinity of each other, is green and so on. So sometimes the distance between a blessing and a curse is not as wide as we think it is. Also on Mount Grizim is something interesting. There's a temple up there, and it is a Samaritan temple. Who were these Samaritans? They claim to be the original Jews, but we know where they came from. In the year 721 BCE, the Assyrians were horrible, fierce warriors, and they came and they conquered the land of Israel, burned cities, massacred, and so on. And their policy was to remove the population that was there and replace them with a different group of people. And so that from that moment on, from that point on, we have the 10 lost tribes of Israel. They were all taken out, spread out, who knows where, never to be found again. And then only the section of Judah was left unconquered. and that's how we get the name Jew from Judah. But the 10 tribes were gone, and they were replaced by various populations. One of them were these people who turned themselves, who were called Samaritans, and they originally came with whatever pagan beliefs they had, but there was a problem for them. The problem was that in Israel at the time, there were a lot of lions, and they were having a lot of trouble with the lions. And so finally, their elders said, we'll convert to Judaism, and that will solve our problem. Well, they said they converted to Judaism, and the lions stopped. So since then, they accepted the Torah, and they moved ahead from there on. They weren't fully accepted as converts, so there was always a problem between the Jews in Israel and the Samaritans. And Samaritans built their own temple, claiming that this is where the temple really was always, that they are the real Jews now. We have a section in which says this is where Abraham came to sacrifice Isaac. They also have a section where they say in an archaeological site that they collected the stones that Joshua took from the Jordan River, and they brought it to where they are. And here is a picture of, and here are the actual stones from Joshua when the Jews crossed the Jordan River. They also do sacrifices at this temple, and people go, especially they're famous on Pesach, on Passover. Their Pesach is, I think, a week later than ours. They follow a different kind of a calendar, and they actually bring the Paschal lamb, and they have these pits where they roast them and so on, and have all kinds of dancing and celebrating of Pesach. So all this is going on at this place called Shechem. What I found interesting is I couldn't go into the city, but I could go up Mount Gerizim. We could go up Mount Gerizim, and from there take a look into the city, and to pick out all the sites. There is an archaeological site where Jacob actually bought and made his home, his first home, when he came to the land of Israel. There's also the site where you can see from a distance where the tomb of Joseph is. We're allowed to go there on his yurt site, but there's always, on his yurt site, there's always a lot of army people there to protect the people who go there. And what I found interesting is to enter into the city from the road downstairs. There's a big red sign saying that if you are a Jew or an Israeli with an Israeli passport, you are not permitted to come into this place. But on the other hand, so very few cars going into this lane, but people coming out of Nablus, out of Shechem, is filled with cars coming out. Those are the Arabs being come out, nothing stopping them. They're allowed to come in, no one bothers them. So, just to be fair, those red signs are not put up by the Arabs. They're put up by the Israeli government because they want to protect us. If you, God forbid, you go in there and you get kidnapped, there'll be all kinds of issues, and it is a danger. So it's the Israeli government who makes it unlawful for us to go into those areas. But it's interesting that the Arabs, however, can come in and out freely from that city. We finish with Shechem then, and we move further south. We move further south on what's called Route 60. Route 60 is called the Patriarch's Road, because that's the road that all the patriarchs took. It follows the tops of the mountains all the way down to Hebron and into Beersheba. When I had the picture, I was going to show you what the thing looks like on a map. The route, the Patriarch's Road, and what makes all the other roads so special. We come to Shiloh. Shiloh during this period I don't know what's going on here.
You're fine.
I'm fine. Okay, for some reason on my computer, I think. I don't know what's going on.
It's
We-
All right, I'm just going to go on.
Oh,
Sheila-
now you're sharing your screen.
yeah.
Yes. Which is fine if you're showing us stuff, but
I'm
if
not
you've
even
got
doing
private
any-
stuff
I'm
on
not
there.
I'm not doing anything. All right, you seeing it now? Maybe it's my son Yaakov.
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So this is the, if you see that white line on this, Yaakov, that's you. Stop it.
I'm helping you. I'm helping you.
No, you're not. You leave it.
Big help.
Yeah. You see that white line?
No,
Can you see it?
no,
No.
It's a
Right
blue
here.
line.
no. The only thing we see is it's a list.
Mayan Herod, Ain Herod.
File.
Click on illustrate map of Israel.
No, it's better because it's a 3D map. Yaakov, forget it. Let me just talk. And I'll work with you for the next one. Thanks. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think it'll work out better this time. And I'll try to improve my skills. We come to a place called Shiloh. And that's where the tabernacle that the Jews had while they were in the Mishkan in the wilderness for 40 years. They brought with them to Israel. And that was the first area that became the holy place, like the temple is today in Shiloh. And that tabernacle stood for 369 years before it was destroyed by the Philistines. At that place, at Shiloh, again, we resurrected Joshua, even though he left us in Shechem. We resurrected because before he went to Shechem, he came to Shiloh and he gathered again the Sikanim and the leaders and the chieftains of the tribes. And he said to them, why are you waiting to claim your territory? Go and settle. That's what we came here for. Take your portion of a land allotted to you, and we'll set up a lottery system, and I want you to go and settle. That was the dream you came for. I had a picture to show you where that place was, but you'll have to believe me, it's there. And what was the hesitation, I asked myself? What was the hesitation that they had? What indeed were they waiting for? That they had to be urged on to fulfill what they were coming for. They spent 40 years wandering in the west desert to come to the land of Israel and to settle in it, to live in it. And they waited. And it seems to me there's a lesson there too, that sometimes also many of us wait too long to fulfill the things we need to do. And in waiting, you lose the opportunity we could have had. And that's what Joshua was concerned about. Waiting too long, maybe sometimes to say, I love you to someone, waiting too long to say, I'm sorry to someone, waiting too long to say, I'm sorry, forgive me, I may have done certain things, big things, little things, and then waiting too long, it becomes too late. They're not there anymore. And I think maybe that's why Joshua was concerned. But I'm also trying to understand why the tribes hesitated, why they needed Joshua to even urge them on. I mean, this is what they hoped for, was it not? This is what they were coming for, was it not? So why you would think to be excited and run to get it done? And then I thought for a moment, you work hard all of your life, waiting for those golden years of retirement. And suddenly you realize those golden years never come. They never come. Before, you always talked about when you were young, what you want to do, what you want to achieve. And now I find myself talking mostly about what medications I'm taking. And I think something like that happened to the Israelites. The settlement, they suddenly realized that was not going to be easy. There was no more manna to be had. It's not so easy to make a transition from one kind of life to another. No matter how good or bad it may be, the transition is still very difficult. I think that the people who hesitated, the Zacchadim who hesitated, may have even said that in many ways, living in the wilderness was so much easier. You didn't have to worry about what you're going to wear tomorrow. You didn't have to worry about fixing up an apartment. You didn't have to worry about mortgage payments. You didn't have to worry about going shopping to Costco for your food. You didn't have to worry about protection. God was there with a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night to lead you on your way. But now they're going to have to raise their own food. What do they know about farming? These are nomads. What do they know about agriculture? Israelites, they were slaves building bricks and so on from straw, and 40 years wandering in the wilderness. All right, they had some cows and sheep and so on. So they're nomads, they knew about that maybe. But now they're coming and they will have to settle. And when you settle, you have to know agriculture. When you settle, you have to know the land that you're living in. And you have to know the climate. You have to know when it's going to rain and when it's not going to rain. So you know when to plant and when not to plant, when to harvest and when not to harvest. Israel doesn't have rivers and so on. And so water, up until modern times, was always a major issue in the Middle East. Always a major issue. You have a lot of springs, you have a lot of underground aquifers, but you don't have major rivers. Today, Israel is now water independent because I think almost 70% of our water is water that's desalinated. And even as I speak to you today, Israel is building the largest desalination plant in the world, a second one, which will be the largest desalination plant in the world, making Israel, for the first time in all of history, in the Middle East at least, water independent. And they give a lot of water to Jordan as part of the treaty that was made. So, but what people coming out of the wilderness, how do they know about a place where you have to build cisterns in order to take advantage of times when there's rain, and know how to work with runoff water to agriculture, and how to make terraces along mountains so you can grow stuff? What do they know? This is not going to be an easy trip. When they were in the wilderness, they had leadership, central leadership. Moses, Joshua. And now what's happened? Each tribe is being run and led by its own elders. Each tribe now has its own, is going to be given its own territory, just like the United States. After the revolution, we had articles of confederation, but you had every state ran its own ship until the Constitution was established. And it finally took a civil war to finally create the fact that this is a United States. The Civil War finally changed things from the state being exclusively in power to a federal government. So now you have a state system in Israel. Each tribe has its own allotted land. Each tribe has property. Each side has its own elders. Each tribe has its own judges. Each tribe has to make its own transitions. Each tribe has to fight its own wars. Maybe once in a while join together with another tribe in an alliance. And each tribe has to come up with its own leader. How do you function now under this kind of a system? How do you function under this? And it lasted for 200 years. For 200 years. The truth is that all the tribes basically had the same challenges, but they had to face them alone. And it was a hostile neighborhood. Why was it a hostile neighborhood? Because up to about the 12th century BCE, the whole area was pretty much under the thumb of the Egyptian Empire. But by that time, there's enough internal problems in Egypt that it could no longer rule the empire. The Philistines and the Sea Peoples were coming in and challenging Egypt internally. There were internal strife. So there was no superpower to take care of things. But there's no superpower, then little powers start to fight among each other. So you have, during this period, always Ammonites, Moabites, Edomites, all around it, Amorites, and maybe some termites, who knows, all challenging and fighting this new group of people who are coming in to settle. And the biggest of all were the Philistines. The Philistines were powerful warriors who had, for whatever reason, sea peoples who landed in the coast of Israel and pretty much took over the coast of Israel. They had discovered and know how to use iron. The Israelites did not have that yet. Didn't have iron. They had chariots, and they were slowly pushing as the Israelites were moving from the mountains toward the valleys. The Philistines became the major force, moving from the coastal area, which is very fertile, to the mountains. And there was going to be a tremendous clash for years, 1,000 years worth, constantly between the Philistines and the Israelites. That's what's going on. Now, something else is happening. We're the Canaanites in all this. In each one of these tribes, there were Canaanite populations. You have to realize, now we know from archaeology, that the Canaanites were very well advanced. They were expert farmers. They knew the techniques of how to use water. They were well developed agriculturally. They were an urban culture as well. If you go to a place called Tel Arad, you'll see it's a World Heritage Site. And there you'll see one of the first developed villages, fully developed, with housing and walls around it and so on, and streets developed by the Canaanites. Along with that, of course, was their immorality and their pagan religion. And you can see then farmers who are, and a culture that's pretty much advanced from their pottery. You measure the civilizations. Pottery is the biggest element that you can work with. You see the kind of pottery vessels that were used and so on, that they were quite advanced. And so as a result of that, you can see where Jews, Israelites, are going to be influenced by their Canaanite neighbors. You can see where they would want to learn from them. You can see where they want to get advice. You can see where they would perhaps meet and marry and intermarry. And that created always the problem. Problem was that the Canaanites led a lot of the Israelites astray in terms of belief in Baal worship and the sexual immorality practices and so on. And Jews have always historically, as Elie Wiesel said, we copy always advanced nations and advanced things. So these you find then in the book of Judges, you find pretty much a constant repetition of the same kinds of problems that each of the tribes had to face. And the only thing is, because they had to face them alone, they had to produce their own leaders. And every leader in the book of Judges, you can read it for yourself, has some is not a perfect leader. It's not Joshua. It's not Moses anymore. See, it's a leader who's anonymous, and for some reason finds strength to help his tribe out of difficulties and challenges and battles and wars. And as long as he continues to live, everything seems to be fine. When he dies, everyone goes back to the old situation, mixing with the Canaanites and so on, until Israelites developed its own strong culture and abilities. The example is, I was going to give you an example of Gideon, because I had a picture of where he was. Gideon was a simple person. The Moabites came and attacked Israelites. What they would do is, you have to realize, why the people in the ancient world attack other people, why the empires form. It's the place, if you conquer someone, that's the place where you have slaves to bring back who do your work for you. That's also the place that'll have to give you tribute. Tribute is not only taxes and so on, but a portion of their produce. And that's how you become wealthy and so on. And so the Moabites, for example, when it came, who lived in the desert, where Jordan is today, near the opposite the Dead Sea, they learned to domesticate camels, and they would come during the season. They knew when the season was for the harvest, and they would come to attack the various places in Israel, the various tribes, in order to grab their food and to grab pieces and take them back. And that was a constant war that went on at the time, and nobody could stop it. There was no superpower, and so all the small little powers were fighting among themselves. And don't forget, you're talking about an era of scarcity. Food is not as plentiful as we have it, thank God. So you always have people coming and trying to take something from you. That's how they're going to build their wealth. So Gideon was working, and the Bible tells us, just as an example, he was threshing wheat in a wine press. That's how we first meet him. I mean, why is he? You don't thresh wheat in a wine press. A wine press is to step on grapes, and there's a channel that takes the juice and falls into a hole. Those wine presses are all over Israel. And the threshing floor was to throw after you made wheat, you collected the wheat and so on, you threw it up into the air, and the air would blow away the chaff from the grain and so on. So that was the threshing floor. That was something else. But why was he doing it in there? Because the Moabites who came to attack would not think that he would be threshing, have a threshing floor in a wine press. So he was hiding from them. And plus it was much easier to hide a wine press in a cave than it was a threshing floor, because you needed the air, the open air, when you threw up the grain for the wind to blow away the chaff. So that's where we first find him, and he gets called. He gets called by God. He says, "It's time now for us to save your tribe from the Moabites, and you'll be the leader." And he says, "Me?" He's not ready. Who am I? I'm not a military leader. He said, "Don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. You just come to the spring in Ein Harod, to a spring." I had a picture of that spring for you. It's an underground spring that pops out of a mountain and then it forms a pool of water, and it's constant. You come with your soldiers. He comes with 10,000 soldiers. And God says, no. The Moabites have maybe 60, 70,000. It's not going to work. Send home those who are frightened, who have other things to do, have to watch the ball game now, the World Series, whatever it is. Let them go home. He's left with 1,000. 1,000? No. He gets nothing. It's still too much. So I want you to, here's what you're going to do. You're going to separate them out. Let them drink from the spring. And those who lap the water, they'll be taken, like, just bend down with their tongues. And those who lie down and pick it with their hands and lie down and quickly do it with their hands, those are the ones I'll take. The ones that sit on their knees and, be very nice about it and drink water nicely, send them home. So he was left with 300. And God says, okay, that's what I want. He says, he says, what do you mean? 300 against 60,000, And says no. And then he's told what he has to do. And he has this plan and so on. And it works out well. That particular plan is studied in all military schools. And they defeat the Moabites. And Gideon becomes then the leader for 40 years. And everything is fine as long as he lives. At that same very spot, interesting enough, in 1261, we mentioned this, the Mamluks stopped the Mongols. The Mongols were the greatest empire that ever lived. They were tremendous warriors, and they were about to enter into the Middle East. And the one place that they were stopped was by these Mamluk warriors, led by this fellow Baybars, General Baybars, who stopped them at that same place, at this Ein Haron. And at that same place, which is at the slope of a mountain called the Gilboa, at that same place is where King Saul will be defeated by the Philistines, that he and his sons, Jonathan, the beloved Jonathan with David, he and his sons will be killed. Their heads will be chopped off. Their bodies would be plastered on the wall in Beit Shan. And it all took place, all in that same place. And in that same place, there's a site for, I forgot his name, I'll think of it in a moment, who in the 1920s, simple Jew, who went and saw that the Jezreel Valley, the most fertile valley in Israel, it's the breadbasket of Israel, at the time was swamps, overgrown, no one cared for it, no one treated it. He started to buy up land for the Jewish National Fund. You remember all those blue boxes that they used to collect? Well, part of that went to buy land. He kept buying a lot of land in the Jezreel Valley. And because he had that vision that one day Jews are going to come and settle here and so on, and we're going to turn this place into a breadbasket the way it was in ancient times.
Was that Rothschild?
Huh?
Was that Baron Rothschild?
No, Baron Rothschild is someplace else. He wasn't a rich man, like Baron Rothschild was. He just bought up land, and afterwards, a lot of kibbutzim were able to form places and so on. So also in that area, which is the Jezreel Valley, is a place called Megiddo. Megiddo. One second. Sorry, I can't talk now, okay? A place called Megiddo. Megiddo overlooks this Jezreel Valley, and it's one of the most important sites that one can visit in Israel. Why? Because the Jezreel Valley, because of its location, was the place where most of the wars and battles took place. And the Christians mistranslated Megiddo, Har Megiddo, to Armageddon. You see, that's where it's from. And where the last battle before the end of the world would take place at that place. So all that is going on in that particular area. Another one that we can talk about is Samson. I'm sure everyone knows the story of Samson, no? Do I have to? Huh? You know, Samson, who when he his mother was pregnant with him, was met by an angel in the field. She told him, when he gives birth, he should be a Nazarite. He's never going to cut his hair. He can't drink anything from the grape, from the wine, no alcohol, and so on. And he grew up to be a very powerful, strong man. And he lived in the Dan area, which is around where, well, it doesn't matter where it is now. And he was the hero to fight the Philistines. But he was also had problems. He had problems with women. And so if you saw the movie, he would always go down to have relations with women, and Delilah was one of the women he met, and she had his hair cut off finally, and the Palestinians were able to, the Philistines rather, were able to catch him, blind him, and put chains around him, bring him to one of their temples, and he, as last act, he asked God for one more round of strength, and with his strength, he pulled down the pillars that held the temple, and the whole thing collapsed with him on it as well. But he was, again, a hero at the time, but with a lot of faults. And there's one more person I'd like to mention here with this thing. For this, we have to go back to Shiloh. And that's where the tabernacle stood. That was where people came for the holidays to bring their sacrifices and so on. And the high priest was Eli at the time, Eli, and then there was a family that would come there regularly, a woman who couldn't give birth. You must understand, in ancient times, that was a woman never felt completed unless she had children. Her name was Hannah. You will read about her story on Rosh Hashanah. You'll read about her story in the Haftorah on Rosh Hashanah. She came to the tabernacle at one time with a family and husband, and the husband was, had more than one wife, and she stood by the tabernacle, by near probably one of the vilonot, one of the curtains, and prayed silently. And Eli came over to her, and he thought she was drunk because she was moving around and praying, and no words could be heard and so on. And he said to her, Mrs., it's not appropriate to come to the temple drunk. He thought she was drunk. And she said to him, please, I am not drunk at all. I'm just brokenhearted. And and she explained to him why. And she said, I also prayed to God. And I said to God, if I have a child, after he's weaned, the age of 3, I will bring him here to the tabernacle to be raised to serve God all of his life. And Eli said, he looked at her and he apologized. And he said to her, next year when you come back, you will be pregnant. And that's what happened. And afterwards, when the child was weaned, she came with him to bring him to Eli. And the name of the child was Samuel. And he grew up there. Now the only problem is like this. Eli was a good man. He was a judge. He was a zaken, one of zakenim, a leader. But his sons were corrupt as anything. Priests are also corrupt. And they took advantage of people sexually, materially. And his problem was that he didn't see this. We look away. We don't see the things that our children are doing that could be bad. And he didn't interfere at all. And that was his mistake. The only mistake that he made was that he had this great love for his sons that he couldn't see what they were doing and their weakness. They really were corrupt, totally corrupt. So anyway, and that's Samuel grew up there, and one night he was sleeping, and he heard a voice calling him. And he thought it was Eli, so he went to him and said, "Did you call me?" He said, "No." Went back to sleep. He heard a voice again. And he went back and Eli said, "Oh, there's something happening here. Next time the voice, when it comes to you, answer, say, 'Hineni, here I am.'" And so he went back, came to him, and the voice told him that he would grow up to being a leader of Israel. He's going to be the bridge between the judges, the Zakenim, and the prophets. He's going to be the bridge between and a major leader of the Israelites. But what happened was to Shiloh, was that because of the corruption that was going on, the constant wars that was going on between the Israelites and the Philistines. And by the way, the name Palestine does not come from the Palestinians. The name Palestine was given to the area by the Romans after the temple was destroyed, after the Bar Kokhba rebellion was destroyed, after they trashed everything in Jerusalem, after they got rid of and massacred all the Jews in Jerusalem and in the area that they could, after they broke down the walls and the temple and pretty much turned it into a field, called it Aelia Capitolina, and put up a statue of Jupiter and Zeus there. And they divided up the area to Palestina into three areas called Palestina. Palestina Rishona, Palestina Secunda, Palestina Trutisha, in three areas. And the name Palestine comes from the Philistines. And that's the origin of that name, because there was no such thing as Palestinians at the time. The Arabs didn't come here till 648. So that's the origin. In any case, the Philistines won that battle, the Battle of Eben Ezra, and there is a archaeological dig at that point. It came to Eliezer, and as they were losing, as they were losing, the sons of Eli took the ark out of the tabernacle, brought it to the battlefield, hoping that will encourage the soldiers to give them strength and enthusiasm to fight on. And instead they lost the ark. And the Philistines captured the ark and brought it with them to the cities where they lived on the coast. They didn't hold on to it too long, because and this is the important part too, they totally destroyed, after 369 years, they destroyed the place where the tabernacle and a place where it stood in. And since then, we've had no tabernacle. And we had to wait for the next site to develop, which would be with David HaMelech and Solomon, which would be the Temple Mount. But up to that point, Shiloh was the Jewish religious capital, totally destroyed and burnt and so on by the Philistines. What happened to that ark? I'll wait for next time because David HaMelech is going to be the one to bring that ark back to Israel. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay. So I think we'll stop there. I apologize. I couldn't use the pictures. I had it all arranged. I worked all day to try to do it. I'm going to try the next time. And,
can I ask a question, Rabbi?
Yeah, please.
So
unmute yourself. Yeah.
My question was.
And can you introduce yourself? Introduce yourself.
Yeah, this is Ethan Goldrich again.
Okay.
So my question is, why do you think the Romans picked out the name of Palestine for the Philistines and not for any of the other prior inhabitants? Like if they were trying to wipe out the memory of Israel, why didn't they go back to Canaan or to any of the other peoples?
Because the Philistines were the strongest group at the time. The chariots, they knew how to use iron. They were, extreme powerful warriors, and so he named it Palestina. Yeah, makes sense. The Moabites were no match for the Philistines, nor the others.
So there were still Philistine tribes?
No Philistine tribes. No such thing. I'm sorry. The Philistine tribes.
Did they exist?
No, but what the Philistines had, this was their downfall, was they had five independent cities. So they were like city-states. So they didn't have the same kind of unity that they could have had to give them more power and more strength. The five cities were Gath, where Goliath was born, Ashdod, Ashkelon, Ekron, and Gaza. Those are their five major cities. And in fact, in Ashdod has the only museum in the world, which is a museum of the Philistines, who they were, how they dressed, how they fought, and they were quite developed as well culturally. Yeah, so I could see why he would pick Philistines. And plus they were the enemies, the biggest enemies of Israel. King Saul, all of his life, Nebuch. I didn't touch King Saul. We'll have to do that a little bit later, next time. But King Saul, his life, that's what he fought. He fought the Philistines all of his life until they killed him finally at Mount Gilboa. But for 1,000 years, King David finally got rid of them once and for all. And since his victory over them, they never came back again. Good question, Ethan. Any other questions? Yeah. Okay. Thank you all for
I have a question.
tell us who you are.
I have a question.
Yeah, who are you?
Regina Berthold.
Okay, Regina, yeah.
Yes. Thank you very much, Rabbi. It's very interesting. Maybe I misunderstood you, but did you say that when Pharaoh was eager to get rid of the Jews, in the beginning you said Pharaoh was eager to get rid of the Jews and he even gave them gold so they would leave Egypt?
No, the Egyptians were. The Egyptians were. The neighbors were.
Oh, the neighbors were. Oh, I see.
Yeah, the neighbors, not Pharaoh.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Why did they change it for them?
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah.
Thank you. And I want to say hello to everybody, and we miss you very much.
Hi, Regina.
Yeah.
Rabbi, it's Rita Rich. So the Hebrews.
Rita. How are you, Rita?
I'm glad to see your face, Rabbi.
Thanks.
I'm okay.
I don't see your face. Where are you?
All right, well, I'll start the video. There I am. So, Rabbi, talk to me about when the Hebrews left. My wonderful, when they left Mitzrayim, my wonderful father, who's still, God bless him, is still with me at the age of 90, says that the Hebrews sacked their neighbors' houses to get all the loot that they crossed over into the desert with. That's not true?
No, they didn't sack them. It said Vayash Ilum. And they went around collecting from them. They felt they were owed something for all those years of slavery that they did for nothing. So
But they needed to steal.
But the word is,
sack.
it is Vayash Ilum. They went and said, listen, I'm leaving. I need to have something to go with after, I worked for you all these years. Can I have something?
And the Mitzrayim were
And they were
happy
generous,
to
and they generously gave. They agreed.
So it wasn't the actual population of Egypt itself that we should be afraid of, but their leaders.
But they're what? Oh,
Their leaders, their rulers.
Oh, yeah. It's always leaders that you should be afraid of. People are people, but leaders have other agendas. So.
And also this is Joan Eisenberg. It came after everybody's firstborn child. The oldest child was killed, and that was in culmination of all the things that had been happening and had brought Egypt to ruin. They wanted the Jews out. That's my understanding.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they were so generous. Take anything you want, just get out, Exactly. Yeah.
I had left.
Okay. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Joining me.
Thank you,
Again, I
Rabbi.
apologize. I really tried to show you the pictures I have that I've taken. But the truth is, you can, if anyone is interested in seeing some of these sites, you can just go on Google. Rabbi Google has everything. They have pictures of everything. I just, have those pictures I took when I went to these places with the course that I took. So
Thank you, Rabbi. This is Steve Sabin with Susan, and it was wonderful. We want
Thank you. Stay well. Susan, how are you feeling?
Stay well.
Susan, how are you feeling?
I'm good, thanks.
Yeah? Good.
Yeah, terrific.
Good. No more treatments? No more treatments?
Nope, all done for 3 years.
I'm glad.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye, Rabbi.
Good to
Thank
see
you, Rabbi.
everybody.
Take care.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Bye.
Take care.
Thank you, everybody.
Take care. Say hello to Joseph for me, please.
And hello to everybody.
Yeah, please.
Hopefully, we'll
Thank
see
you.
you in
Bye.
Thank
See you in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's
Robin,
Diane.
take care.
Okay.
Question
Thank
for
you.
you, Rabbi. Next year, Bezrat Hashem, are you going to do day trips? What are you planning?
Diane,
Yes.
I know that voice.
Are you planning on doing day trips, Rabbi, or what?
No, me?
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
too old to
No,
do
You're
that.
not.
I'd be happy to show people around, just like this. I don't, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. In fact, it's all
Anyone, if you ever come to visit and whatever, I'd be happy to show you around, and as friends, right? All right.
We're coming with the grandkids.
In fact, Bezalel's 10 minutes away from you. He'll call to say hi.
Oh, wonderful.
All right. Be
Good.
well,
Thank you. Nice seeing you all there. I'm not going to
Thank
leave.
you, Rabbi.
I'm happy to see all these faces. Hello, Sal. How you doing? Hello, Sal.
Hi, Freistats.
Now you can hear us. We were muted. Okay.
Rabbi, very nice.
Hey,
We
Ethan.
also have a Nama. Okay.
Ethan, you may be the president of the shul, but Cheryl did a much better job for me last time. So you don't have to be a macha to
Rabbi, are you?
do a good job. Yeah. But I also want to just, I think, end on this point. I think the Bible wants to make a point also about this constant fall each time, all these tribes having difficulties, yet that each time they're able to rise up above it, falling and rising. And that ability the ability to have that sense that, okay, I've been knocked down, but I'm not gonna stay down there. I'm able to rise up once again, no matter what challenge there is in front of me. And that's what you have. You have a constant rising and fall. Life is that way. You go up and down, up and down, up and down. But you can't stay down. That's the point. And that's what I think that's the message of the book of Judges, with this constant up and down that's going on. The main thing is they come up. And then as they come up, they get higher and higher, and we'll see when we reach
Cycles.
David HaMelech and so on, and we'll see a higher rising, and then after that a fall again, but then a rising again. And same thing with the land of Israel altogether. We were expelled from here, we were thrown out of here. We marched through the world. So many things happening to us, yet we sort of made it through, and we're still in the process, not finished yet. There's still a lot of challenges left for why we're here and why we're Jews, what our calling is and our destiny must be. We haven't completed that yet, not by a long shot, and so, the main point is to try to not allow yourself to stay down in the valley, but you have to climb up the slope to the crest of the mountain, as the black preachers would say, right?
Rabbi, thank you very much. We really enjoyed
Sure. Take care.
Okay.
Rabbi, what is
Richard, how you doing? Oh yeah. Unmute yourself. You're still unmuted.
There's no how.
Oh, I'm glad to find someone who's worse than me with this. Oh, good. Makes me feel much better. You see, I just climbed up.
Have a good night.
She learns to-
אני רואה את התמונה שם, מי בתמונה?
What is your situation regarding the pandemic? Are you have to stay at home now, or what's the situation?
About the coronavirus?
Yes.
What's going on? Yeah, there's a lot of confusion in Israel. Tremendous amount of confusion. Now they appointed a new czar, not a czar, but someone who's going to be in charge of this stuff. But they have all kinds of pressures. There are a lot of people losing jobs, and a lot of small business people yelling and screaming and protesting, and it's a very, very difficult time now.
Are you supposed to be staying at home now, or what's that situation?
The only thing I'm supposed to, I stay mostly close by. I'll go shopping, but we have a service in our we have a yard, big between the buildings, a huge yard. So we daven there outside. Everyone wears masks. Everyone has to wear a mask and try to keep their distance in place. Entertainment places are closed. Limits as to how many people could go for weddings and for funerals and so on. But there's talk, and so far the airports have been closed. But now there's talk about maybe trying to start opening them up again a little bit. But there's a lot of, I must tell you, the truth is, there's a lot of confusion. Israel was very good at the first round. It was really recognized the whole world. And then when the second round came, they lost it. They did not do a good job. So now we're still, there's a lot of turmoil and unrest because of the uncertainty. Yeah. But for us seniors, we have to be, much more cautious. So we are advised to try to limit our going out, and so that's what I pretty much do.
I see.
Getting tiresome,
I haven't been out of the house since March.
How do we move it up?
Yeah, it's, but I understand that talking about a virus that's being tested for 30,000 Americans volunteered.
Yeah,
to
vaccine.
Rabbi
Vaccine.
Hirschfeld is
So-
one of the people doing it.
And if it works, yeah. And if it works, then maybe it'll be good. But I'm good. I would wait to take the vaccine, see what effects it has on all those who run to take it first. For that, I'll be happy to take it second.
Thank you, Rabbi. I see behind you, there's a picture. Who's in that picture? Right behind you, on the right.
Oh,
Is that
that's
you?
me and Gima, me and my wife.
Can
me
you
and
show
Gima.
us up close?
Show you?
Yeah.
Good.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, sweet.
That takes us back how many years?
It takes me back also. Don't worry about it.
Rabbi, you haven't changed a bit.
Thank you.
It's Debbie, how are you?
Doing good. Doing good.
Good.
I'm
Good.
representing
Debbie,
my son. My boys are out. They have to go for a walk. My son is recuperating from a broken foot.
Len Finkel, how you doing, Len? Yeah,
I'm doing
good.
pretty well. It's been a tough 2-3
Really?
years for the family, but
Really?
yeah, my
Sorry.
dad would have loved seeing you. I wish he was here for these.
Yeah, I know. You look like him a lot.
You know, I think I'm starting to notice that. I'm not sure if I like it. It's the age.
No. No. It's a
I
nice
hear that more.
It's a nice compliment, you know.
Thank you. I do hear that. It used to be my uncle, who's my mom's brother, who I look like. Now I've switched over to the other side of the family.
Oh, okay. You came back home.
Yeah, but we all loved you. I mean, it's so nice to see you.
Yeah, well, your parents are very dear to all of us, I think.
Thank
Teddy
you.
and, yeah.
Yeah. I'll show my mom the recordings at some point, for sure.
Oh, okay. How's she doing, okay?
She's okay. She's in a place where they have independent living.
Oh, yeah.
So
Which one is it?
It's Aspenwood, on
Connecticut.
No.
Okay, I know where it is.
On Belpre Road.
Georgia on Belpre, yeah.
Yeah, I know where it is. I remember it, yeah. That's a good place.
I may be saying Belpre Road. I don't know why I'm driving that. So I'm between Maryland and Virginia. So. But the visiting schedule's been very difficult. We just finally were able to
it's
get
hard,
outside.
Yeah.
So,
No, it's very,
yeah, but thanks for asking.
yeah, great to see. Ariel.
Hello.
Mona, how you doing?
Fine.
Good.
We miss you.
Yeah, it's so nice to see you all, really. And the best part of the session is just to see you all people, really nice. Yeah.
There's little Cindy.
Yeah.
I see little Cindy.
Bert?
Yeah.
Is that you?
That's me.
You're
Show
hiding.
your face.
I don't see you, Bert. Show your face.
We only see the top of your hair, Mr.
Come on, that's the
Rothenberg.
top of your head. I don't see the rest of you.
The screen back away from you or something.
Yeah, come on, Bert.
Where?
There we go.
There you are.
Hey, there he is.
There he is.
There you are.
Okay.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thanks. Nice to see you, Bert. Are you still at Bedford Court?
Oh,
Yeah, still there.
Good. Very good.
yeah.
Nice.
Hi, Rusty.
Who was that?
Laura Helen.
It's Maura Helen.
Hey,
Oh, Mara Helen.
how are you?
My grandchildren, possibly.
How are those babies?
Can't see you.
Here I am. Right
Ethan, where's Ethan?
above you.
Did he leave?
Rushdies.
Yeah.
You can unmute everybody. That'll be good.
We're the ones
Hey
with
Lou, how you doing? Lou Struther, how you doing?
I am fine. How are you, Rabbi? And it's great to see you as always.
Oh, this is David speaking, but.
I
yeah.
know.
Who's that?
I know. I could recognize the voice, but I wanted to say hi to Rabbi as well. Rabbi, these have been great sessions. I've enjoyed them very much. And David,
Thank you so much. Thank you. I've enjoyed seeing all of you. That's the best part. You know. Yeah.
The best is hearing you.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Cindy, how are you doing? Cindy?
I'm good, Rabbi. How are you?
Good. Same nice smile, always that smile.
Yes, it's exactly the same.
Oh, Jan.
Hey there.
Hi. Okay. Almost didn't recognize you. How can I miss you? Okay. So nice to see you. Joseph.
Hi, Rabbi.
Good. Good to see you. How you doing?
Good. I missed it. I'm sorry. I'm going to watch the video.
That's all right. Don't worry about it. It's not what, you know. You got to bring your mother sometime. You got to see her.
I will do that next time.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Fair dose.
Definitely.
See her.
A lot of people we've missed for a long time.
Yeah. Ellie, how you doing, El? My son is on.
Hey, how are you?
Atlanta.
Where is he?
Good class. How about well done?
Andy and Lynn, how you all doing? Phoenix.
Oh, we're doing great.
We're doing great.
Great.
Good. I'll tell Carol.
You know, I sympathize with you when you say you have to think about your medications and everything else. That's what I do now too. My medication.
I don't want to know right now.
My eye drop.
Doris, how you doing?
Great, but I'm here.
Doris Dudrick.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
hi, Ellie.
Hey, Aunt Doris, how are you?
Mazel tov.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Doris? Hi.
Ellie, how's work?
Who's talking to me now?
Not Rashti.
Hey, Rusty, there you are. Thank God. It's going okay. It's good.
Yeah.
Ruth, how come you're hiding your face? Ruth, it's your now.
I don't know.
Still can't see you, Ruth.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ruthie, you're muted.
There we go. Okay.
Ruthie, can you mute yourself? Ruth.
Shirley, how are you?
Okay, thank you.
Good. How's your son doing, by the way?
He's fine. He's going to start working at home now.
Oh, good.
His building was closed for 7 months, but now they're open, but they're all working from home.
Ah.
Have a list of participants.
Lou, how are you doing?
I am good, Rabbi.
Yeah?
Everybody's good.
Is your entertainment thing being heard?
We're all closed. The
All
teams are
closed,
closed,
wow.
the arena's closed. Washington, D.C. has been hit pretty hard with this, and like
Yeah.
everywhere else.
Wow. Yeah.
But today I was at a funeral of Mrs. Poland today.
Who was that?
Irene Poland, Abe Poland's wife.
Oh.
Sorry.
So today was her funeral.
Wow.
96 years old.
Well, it's wonderful seeing everybody. Those of you who don't remember me, I'm
Fran, how you doing?
Joyce's daughter, Faith. So
Fran, how you doing?
I remember
seeing
you,
everybody.
Fran.
What?
How you doing? How are you?
I see you. I am perfect.
Uh,
You bring back beautiful
Flattery will get you everywhere.
beautiful memories. And as I said last time, I love thinking about your sons when they were running on the roof of the shul with my 2 boys.
Eli, what's happening? How's school?
Hey, Rabbi, I'm studying for the MCAT for med school right now.
Very good.
Fun stuff.
When are the exams?
Next week, actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good luck. Good luck. Let me know how
Thanks,
you
Rabbi.
do, okay?
I will. Thank you.
Good. You're looking good.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. Good to see all of you.
Good to see you.
Everybody.
How do I stop it already? It doesn't stop.
Oh, no, I still get your jokes.
Okay, I'm out of battery. That's it.
Lynn, what happened to Barry? He went to sleep already?
No, he was just here. He's right here.
I don't blame him. It's okay.
Oh, you're amazing, Reuben. Amazing.
It's okay.
Nobody wants to leave you.
Oh, I want to see everyone, you know. There you go.
Okay, we'll have lunch together.
Maybe when we finish the class, we'll have a, what do you call it, a party. Everybody bring their own cup of coffee or something.
Let's see them.
Hopefully, you know, things will get good. It's just a crazy, crazy time.
We want to see you in Yerushalayim.
Well, they won't let you in. Don't worry, not yet.
No.
Unless you want to go into isolation, into bidud.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
All right. Everyone, take care. Stay well. Take care of yourselves.
Rabbi.
We'll see you in 2 weeks. Take
Okay,
care.
thanks again. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me into your rooms. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.